You're tuning in to Edge 88.1. I'm Angela Lose on Des Moines Mashup Station. Every Tuesday, join me from 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock p.m. as I bring you all things news. Don't be behind in what's going on around you. 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock p.m. on Tuesday nights, don't forget.
In 2008, I met my best friend. My parents were divorced, and I needed someone to look up to.
That's when I met Carrie, thanks to Big Brothers Big Sisters.
I'll never forget the time that April and I met. I knew that we were going to make a real difference in each other's lives.
Carrie quickly became more than my mentor. She felt like my real sister in no time.
April always says she thinks that her life changed, but I can't imagine not having her be a part of my life.
Big Brothers, Big Sisters, changing how kids grow up in Central Iowa.
Hey girl!
What's that loud noise? It sounds like you're at a concert. I thought we were going out tonight.
Oh my gosh, I'm downtown on Grand Avenue right now at the Gaslamp. You need to come down right now and check it out.
Wait, really? For what?
Meet me down here. It's called the Gaslamp. They are showing a cover band here soon.
Just a cover band randomly downtown?
Yeah, but there's live music all the time, drinks, and you can eat with me down here too.
Oh, sounds great. I'm on my way.
You're listening to Edge 88.1 back with Angela. Okay, Des Moines. So, a big story released last night that so-called claims of restaurants and new businesses are opening in the quote-unquote growing West Des Moines, more known as Mill Civic Parkway near Jordan Creek Mall. So kind of a big area that's been up and coming for the last, I would say, 10 years. But hasn't West Des Moines always been growing? And it's been growing for a while, so why is the buzz just now coming? I know with Fresh Market going in, Einstein Bagels and Caribou Coffee, that it's gotten a lot of people talking around the community and wondering how big West Des Moines is going to get. Is it going to turn into Waukee, where they're going to need to build new schools and branch out? Or what's really going to go on? I want to see how you feel. Tweet us at Edge 88.1. You're listening to Edge 88.1. Some exciting news just broke with the band Echo Smith. So last year, many of you guys may have heard that the Road to No Texting by the company 2DN2 supports a big fundraiser in all of the Des Moines and surrounding high schools. So private schools and public schools are eligible. Last year, Dowling Catholic took the top spot and won a private concert from Rixton and then also a $100,000 grant. This year, they decided to make the band a little bit bigger, and it is Echo Smith, and they are doing the $100,000 grant again, but it's bringing some buzz up. Is it really showing a message? How many teens are still texting and driving? And I'm curious to see how you feel about it, because I personally think that it's showing a message. Yes, they're understanding no texting and driving, but really, is it stopping them from doing it? Tweet us at Edge 88.1. Again, you're listening to Edge 88.1. Welcome to Edge 88.1. You're here with DJ Angela. So today I was scrolling through my Facebook feed, just kind of catching up on some local news. This one isn't too local, but they did localize it into the Des Moines area. So a dog in Massachusetts fell into a well yesterday, and the dog belonged to a big family, and it was a very loved dog, and it fell into the well about a block away from their house, and they didn't know this at first, and the dog went missing. Okay, so follow here with me for a second. The dog went missing, and of course the family's in a frantic, the kids are in a frantic, and they said, oh my goodness, we're gonna put flyers out. It had been almost 24 hours. The kids were walking home from school. There's 2 kids in the family, and the kids were walking home from school, and they heard a couple whimpers and dog barks, kind of like a sad dog bark, I guess, in a way. And they noticed that there's like a well near their house, and there was boards over the well, and one of the boards was shoved a little to the side. And so they immediately called their parents and said, I think that our puppy is down in the well. The well, keep in mind, is about 25 feet underground. So firefighters came out and they rescued the dog. The dog was so happy. They showed pictures in a video. It was so happy to be found. But it just got me thinking, my dog gets scared when it falls off the bed, let alone into a well. The dog was little, so it's just crazy how it survived without any injuries. But Have you had any crazy dog stories? I want to hear those, so tweet me at Edge88.1. You're listening to Edge 88.1. Okay, so in recent news, as many of us probably know, the movie Passengers is coming out soon, but Jennifer Lawrence and Chris Pratt were getting a little bit of criticism on something that Jennifer had to do before filming their famous sex scene that has been getting a ton of buzz. Okay, so Lawrence said that she did not want to let one of the hottest men out there get to her and make her nervous. She had a ton of anxiety. So she said that she just got super drunk. She just drank. They filmed that scene, I guess, on one day, and it was only that day that they filmed that scene, and they just did several takes. But she said that she woke up that morning, drank a bunch of alcohol, just got drunk. She said that she was super tipsy, like stumbling around in order to do this scene. But then Lawrence said when she got home and the alcohol was starting to wear off, she said, oh my goodness, did I do something stupid, or did I do something that I didn't mean to do? So she's getting a ton of laughter about this. Surprisingly, not a ton of, negative comments. But I mean, what would you do if you had to do a sex scene with Chris Pratt? I mean, I know personally that would be super scary with any famous person, but I'm surprised that this got to Jennifer Lawrence. So tweet me at Edge88. Would you have to get drunk before having a sex scene with Chris Pratt? This is Edge 88.1. This is Edge 88.1. Okay, so I'm going to focus in here a little bit about something that's more centralized to Grandview, but I think people in Des Moines or even in different states might find a little bit interesting. Okay, so a feature was written on viewfindergv.com, which is our affiliate to our on-campus radio station, which you're listening to, 88.1. A story, Meet Chris Evans, the voice of Grandview Athletics, was released on November 20th around 3 p.m. And it was actually an article that I wrote along with my group here at Grandview for one of my classes. But there was kind of an underlying message to the story about a kid here at Grandview who's a strong-willed student, but also seems to be taking athletics and using them as a beneficial source to helping his autism. He was diagnosed with autism at the age of 4. And part of what he does to help cope with that and help improve his communication skills is speak with others, speak with different people, and interact with a bunch of different people day to day. So Chris Evans is the student who it was written on, and Evans is extremely loud and extremely proud of his school and his athletics, but he kind of sets all of his autistic difficulties behind at that point in time and says, I'm not going to let autism label me, and I'm going to not think about it while I'm here at the games. And not only is he enjoying himself, but he is helping his communication skills in the process. And you can check that out at viewfindergv.com. It currently has the top views within the website. So far it has more views than the homepage itself, so go check that out. It is extremely just a heartfelt and a heartwarming article to check out. And again, that's viewfindergv.com. This is Edge 88.1. Hi Alex, thank you for joining me today. We're going to talk a little bit about diversity amongst the Grandview campus. My first question is, why would Grandview push back the plan for the Multicultural Center into the new Student Center?
Well, I think the answer that I received, at least from Jay, was that, when the plan was put together, it included the center, but as they had to scale back the plans, due to the funding, the Multicultural Center was one of the first items, or one of the items that went out of the plan.
Okay, and why do you think it was one of the things that got pushed back?
I think that, again, it goes back to the funding and what some people probably decided to give their money to. So I think that there was not really maybe someone saying, hey, I'm giving this donation so you guys can have a multicultural center. It was just probably like, I'm giving this money and I wanted to go probably to the dining area and I want to give this money.
Something specific.
Something specific. I think that's the unfortunate thing that sometimes people when it comes to multiculturalism or diversity, it's not their priority, so it doesn't come into play.
Okay, so then if Grandview prides himself on creating diversity amongst campus, and we do have a pretty diverse campus, why don't, I know money was kind of the main concern, but why do you think, if they're going to pride themselves on that, do you think that they should kind of take that into consideration?
Well, it is part of the discussions that we have as the internal diversity committee, and we also have an external advisory committee that comes at least twice a year to look at the different things that we're doing. So I know that has been part of the conversation, and that's why we ended up with the Multicultural Center over at the Nielsen building. It was a way to say, hey, this is important to us, so we still want to have it. Unfortunately, it's not here in the student center, but still in the heart of the campus, I guess, the residential campus.
Yeah. Okay. And tell me a little bit more about the Multicultural Center in the Nielsen building.
Okay. So we are hoping to open the doors here in the next week or two. It is being sponsored by the Viking Council. So we're getting it ready. We're trying to get some soft seating. We're planning to run events from there. Down the road, we hope to have mentoring programs, not only for our students, but also for students around the area. We're just trying to increase our footprint in the community.
Okay. And then do you hopefully in the future see this growing into a bigger facility eventually?
I think so. I mean, the potential is there. I mean, you go to other universities, and I kind of like to highlight Iowa State's Multicultural Center. It's in the heart of their student center. It's big, and it has different rooms that students can reserve. So my hope is that, maybe in the future, it could move.
Definitely. And then why is diversity important amongst the Grandview campus?
Okay. Well, again, we're all part of diversity. You've heard me talk about, sex, political views, religion, all that. Those are factors of diversity. The ethnic diversity on campus is close to 20% right now. And I think it's more important because that's the new reality of America. We're becoming more diverse, not only, again, ethnically, but racial, religious, and so on. So it's very important. I think that we need to embrace it to be prepared for the future.
And how long have you been working on, I know that that's your position here at Grandview, and can you tell me a little bit about that, but how long have you been working on getting this up and running and getting to the point where you're at today?
Well, I've been here on campus 10 years, and I guess from day one, I've been trying to create an environment where not only students feel welcome, but also the rest of the community. By that I mean the faculty, staff, and even the external community feel welcome. So I've been working on it from day one. The Multicultural Center is something that I guess I started pushing about maybe 5-6 years ago, especially when we started talking about a brand new student center. And I figured, what a better way to highlight that than to have the Multicultural Center in the student center. Again, it didn't happen, but we're hoping to do the best with the current location.
Definitely. You are listening to KDPS Edge 88.1.
I'm Bailey. You may know me from the Soundcheck Mondays at 9, and I'm co-hosting with Angela, who you may know from her show every Tuesday from 5 to 6. And tonight, we'll be here with you until 9 p.m.
For the hour, we will be talking about women in rock and playing some awesome throwbacks, don't you think, Bailey?
That'll be great.
They are some of the greatest women in rock.
So keep it right here. You will not want to miss out. Coming up first, a woman who paved the way for successful female musicians. Here's At Last by Etta James on KDPS 88.1.
You're tuned in to Des Moines Radio Mashup Edge 88.1. You're here with Bailey and Angela. And yesterday was March 8th, but also National Women's Day. That day is to honor women for all of the different kinds of things that they do.
And it was everywhere. If you got onto Facebook or anything like that, you heard about it, you saw it.
Exactly. I saw posts all over my social media regarding sisters and mothers thanking their daughters just to embrace the overall idea of women and in the workplace. What else did you see, Bailey, that was kind of interesting to you?
Well, I thought it was kind of cool because a lot of guys said, Happy Women's Day, ladies, and stuff like that, and then how Facebook had its own post that it gave women to be able to post to celebrate it. I mean, I guess it gave to men too, but it was just something that it prompted for you to post yourself. So that was cool.
Definitely. And I noticed that the hashtag was trending on all of my social media sites. I did think it was very interesting, though, like you mentioned, Bailey, that men were really honoring women. So I saw a lot of husbands honoring their wives for this, and I guess I've never really seen it in the past that much. Have you noticed it in years past?
I didn't really know there was a Women's Day. I don't know if that's just with all, like, the latest political stuff and the latest, women's pride and feminism, but no, I never noticed it till now. I don't know if that's because social media prompted it or if it's just a change in the times.
Exactly. So tonight on our show, we will again be here with you till 9. We are talking about women in rock. And National Women's Day dates back to 1911, and again, that celebrates women in everything that they do. But it wasn't until the 1980s that women really claimed the rock and roll stage. Only a handful of women at that time had even recorded rock and roll albums, which I thought was like crazy. I mean, it's such a big thing now. I mean, still men dominate kind of in it, but I am still like very surprised that it wasn't until 1980 when they really stepped up to the plate and did that.
I mean, it started a little bit, you see it in the 60s. So a lot of our music is from the 60s, but it wasn't, you're right, until the 80s when women kind of took the main role and we saw more of it, but there's still, you're right, there's not a lot, but the women that are in rock and roll, they're great. I mean, women in rock and roll, how can you go wrong?
I know. A few of the reigning queens are Janis Joplin, Grace Slick, and Stevie Nicks. They all had very exciting careers in the rock and roll era.
And coming up during this next hour, we have music from all those women themselves. Janis Joplin, Grace Slick from Jefferson Airplane, Stevie Nicks of Fleetwood Mac, and more. So stay tuned to Des Moines Radio Mashup, Edge 88.
Hey, Bailey, have you ever heard of Crazy on You? Or what about Barracuda?
Oh, I love those songs.
I never knew, though. This is something I was like, OMG. Okay, so I never knew that Hart wrote the songs and played the instruments, too. I mean, I was familiar to the songs, but I never was like, oh, they do all of that themselves. And, get this, they were the first women in rock to do that.
Really? I didn't know that either. It's revolutionary. That's awesome. It just shows that women are capable of doing so much. It's so cool.
Exactly, right? Okay, so, who else are they headlining with?
Well, drum roll please. Joan Jett will be performing after Hart.
Wait, Joan Jett? Did you just say Joan Jett?
I said the legendary Joan Jett.
Okay, I know that before we did our radio show, Bailey, you were saying how big of a fan you were. And I didn't break some news to you that I did see them at her, I guess, but her band too, at the Iowa State Fair when I was super little. And I remember I went with my mom and my aunt, and I didn't really know who this lady was, but it's pretty cool to be like, hey, I have seen Joan Jett in concert, kinda-ish.
I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous, because I'm hoping to go see them now, but, like, you must have been a really cool kid to be able to see Joan Jett live.
Exactly, right? So I remember, okay, so obviously Iowa State Fair, super crowded. It's always really crazy and overwhelmed and chaotic. And I remember barely being able to see anything because of the hordes of people and just crowded in and like flocking the stage. Have you ever been to a free concert at the fair?
Not a free one, but I have been to a couple concerts at the fair, so I know.
Exactly. So, I mean, the grandstands are crazy enough, but when you add in a free concert, I mean, people are all up on that. So, you have people that have been there for hours, and I was just kind of like, oh, who is this? Like, blocking their view. They're like, oh, who are you, little girl? But I thought it was pretty cool.
I mean, they probably thought you were the coolest kid ever, too. I mean, seeing little kids at concerts is cool enough, but Joan Jett.
Exactly, right? Okay, Bailey, why don't you tell our listeners a little bit more about Joan Jett?
Well, Joan Jett and her band, of course, the Blackhearts, they were Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees, and they have 8 platinum and gold albums and 9 top 40 singles, and that is pretty impressive.
Exactly. So, can you tell me a little bit about how she got there? Do you know anything else about Joan Jett?
She's awesome. I mean,
basically,
I
what
know
else
that
do you have to say?
they were revolutionary in the fact that she was this punk rock woman coming out and saying, for instance, she doesn't care about her bad reputation. She just wanted to be cool. She was what punk rock girls wanted to be, but didn't think they could be because punk was the male thing to do.
I like how you threw that song lyric in there.
Always.
I was flabbergasted by that. But I think it will be a huge hit at the Iowa State Fair. I know people on my Facebook have already been talking about it.
I did.
I know, you did. I saw
did.
that. We hadn't even had this planned yet.
Nope.
But I think it just kind of shows women in rock do really rule.
Of course, yeah.
Of course. Okay, guys, coming up next is Bad Reputation by Joan Jett herself. Keep it here on Edge 88.1. You are on with Angela and Bailey, and we are still here talking about women in rock and roll. Okay, Bailey, Salt and Pepper.
Weird. Why would we talk about them on a rock radio show?
Okay, I mean, I do admit I kind of wanted to just say Salt and Pepper, because how, like, thug do I sound, right?
So thug.
But I was reading an article, and this was a few days before, actually, a few days before our show.
Right.
And I said, I was thinking back, and I'm like, that really could tie in. So it was an article, and it talks about this author and how she argued that Salt and Pepper are worthy of admission to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
But they're total hip hop, in my opinion. I mean, hip hop, just hip hop.
Right. Okay, so here was the thing, though. So the article was titled 10 Best People That Everybody's Shocked About Who Isn't Inducted in the Hall of Fame or whatever. So I clicked on it thinking it would all be rock-centered. But my argument was, I do kind of agree with the author. Doesn't rock and roll truly stand for popular contemporary music, Bailey?
Well, rock and roll in general, I don't think so, but the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I guess, does have a lot of different kinds of music. I know there's folk singers, there is a lot, mainly rock, but there is some folk, and yes, I guess there is some different kinds, but I don't think so. I don't agree. I don't think Salt and Pepper should be in there because many reasons, mainly hip-hop.
Exactly. Okay, but I kind of agree with you, but then I'm kind of like, Bailey, you're wrong, because the more I read this author, I was like, okay, maybe she does have a point. So, you're familiar with Run DMC,
Of
correct?
course, yeah.
Okay. They aren't really relevant to our Women in Rock show, but I do think Salt and Pepper are, since they are mainly female dominant. But if Run DMC is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, why wouldn't Salt and Pepper be? I keep laughing at myself saying Pepper, but I'm going to keep saying it. Shouldn't Salt and Pepper be inducted as well?
No, because, I'll tell you why. Because they only have a one-hit wonder. That Push It song, that Push It song.
You gotta work out.
Yeah.
Yes, you gotta work out to it, get going.
There's nothing rock about that song. And not only that, but now, honestly, when we were kind of prepping for this, and we were talking about it, Salt and Pepper, I didn't know who they were until I looked them up. And I heard that song, I was like, oh yeah, that's who they are. Run DMC, legendary. I know who they are. I know who Run DMC. I know who Run DMC
The shirts,
was.
you see people now, like, I know Target reprinted, like, Run DMC. I had to ask, because I'm not I love rock, but I'm not, like, a huge, like, I wouldn't, like, wear t-shirts every day for that.
Like me.
So, yeah,
There we go, opposite.
But I was like, wow, Run DMC does have a strong comeback even now. I do get your point, but I'm not really completely sure, but I do think that they are women and they are in the rock field. So maybe one day they will hit the rock and fame era. Hip hop.
I will argue it until.
Well, listeners, I don't know. Is Bailey right or is Angela right? I'm not sure. Bailey's a rock pro, but I did think this was a pretty fair agreement to bring up in the rock and roll women segments that we're talking about, right?
Yeah, it works. I mean, it's not rock. Says me.
Okay. But what do our listeners have to say? We want to hear directly from you guys.
Yeah, call in and tell us what you think, which one of us is right. Bailey, who thinks it's not rock. Angela, who thinks it works. They could be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Guys, I'm right.
No, she's
Trust
not.
Trust me.
Rock Pro. She said it herself.
Okay, guys, we just want to thank our Edge 88.1 listeners for staying with us on Edge 88.1 this hour for our Women in Rock show. We have had such a good time. KDPS Radio.
Woo! Brought to you by the students at Grandview University.
Student DJs host their own shows weekdays from 4 p.m. to midnight.
We're mashing up the best from pop, rock, and everything in between.
Also home to the greatest in talk radio.
Hit us up at kdpsgrandview.wix.com/radio to tune in live even right now.
KDPS has been named Radio Station of the Year for 6 consecutive years in a row.
And we ain't slowing down. KDPS Radio Mashup.